Pets in Core Keeper are pretty important, and so today I'm giving you an updated version of my ultimate guide to pets. There's 2 new ones added as part of the 1.0 update, and of course console fans are getting to enjoy the game for the first time. So yeah, pets are important, they can really help you out if you level them up, different perks and buffs and bonuses, so really worth getting. What you need to know about pets in Core Keeper, let's go. Every pet starts as an egg which you have to incubate, which you can unlock via the copper workbench. You'll also need the glass table to make glass as well. All pet eggs should take around 30 minutes to hatch, then you put it in your hotbar, press the use button and then you can equip it in your pet slot. The first pet you'll probably have access to is buying one from the slime merchant. It's one of the first early merchants that you'll come across after defeating the first boss, and it will cost 375 coins to buy one. In doing so you'll get the Ember tail. You can level up experience points up to level 10 with all pets, and they get 5 perk points, 1 perk point every 2 levels. You can choose whatever 5 points you want as well, and here's the crucial thing, each pet has a different chance of rolling different perks. Some of the pets share the same abilities, and a lot of the pets will have the same kind of abilities, but each one of them does have a specific unique one, or possibly even 2. So you can go ahead and spend a lot of time trying to roll or find the perfect pet with the perfect abilities that you want before deciding to level him up and using candy, which you can find in the world, to give experience as well as taking them out into battle. So all pets start off pretty much with the same kind of damage, 9 to 11 either range or melee, and then they've also got additional ability. So the Ember tail here has additional 2 glow, and you'll also give 16 burn damage applied on each hit. To get to level 2, we're going to need 200 experience. So whether through combat or finding lots of candies to feed, it does take quite a lot of experience to get them maxed out. Pretty much nearly every pet you need to get to 100,000 XP to max it out fully. So the perk abilities that they gain will always be fixed amounts, but each time your experience goes up or you level up, you do increase the base damage that they do. But their secondary or third abilities, they do not increase. They will stay the same at 2 glow and 16 burn damage applied on hit. It's only the perk abilities that can increase depending on which ones you've chosen. So if you're really lucky and you get 3 or 4 ability perks that all have extra boss damage, then that will stack up for sure depending on what that does. Nearly all pets will directly attack enemies when you are attacked, with the exception being the Alux. This creature directly buffs you, and all of its perk abilities will also buff you directly. It won't attack any creatures. So returning back to the Ember tail, it's got 9 to 11 range damage, it's got that 2 glow and 16% burn damage. As I said earlier, it does share a lot of the perk abilities with some of the other pets, so you'll find, simply put, that some of them all give maybe critical hit damage extra chance, but the one that it's got special is the 15% chance to consume a target's burning effect and deal the total burning damage immediately. So combine that with the burning anger and you get 40 burn damage applied on hit, but instead of it burning over time, it will then carry on doing more damage very quickly. So next up, the Fanhair, which you got a chance of dropping from yellow flowers in the Alux wilderness, and 100% chance of dropping in a special sea camp scene that you might find in the sunken sea. These guys also do extra range damage. They also have a 12% chance to apply poison on hit, reducing an enemy healing received by 75%. It will fire out pellets that hit targets, but this can be increased with extra perk abilities. So really good for certain bosses like Alux in the Alux wilderness and Ignatius, the molten slime boss, as they both have healing mechanics which can reduce how much they heal by. This one also does share the same similar kind of abilities in terms of range or critical hit, as well as extra boss damage abilities, but its more unique ones are adding an extra projectile with the hit that it can throw, and another boost to its poison ability, the bite mound infection, another 15% damage applied to it. Next is the Alux, which you have a chance of dropping from crates as you explore the Alux wilderness, Forgotten Ruins and some of the beginning areas. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is the only one that has passive abilities that will give you directly the perks. So you'll get 7.6 movement speed and 6.5 extra damage. So some of these are obviously much smaller since it gives you the direct buff, but things like extra melee damage, ranged or attack speed. It does have something called Triple Trouble, which has a 2% chance of tripling your damage, and directly giving you other ones like critical hit, 10% chance extra. Unlike the other pets, of course, may be expected, you don't actually get an increase in its baseline stats. Whereas the attack damage for the other creatures goes up with the experience level, these ones don't, so they'll remain the same. But of course that trade-off is you are directly getting these extra bonuses and buffs. Then we've got the Terrier. This guy can be found as a loyal egg when you dig up the X marks the spot in the ground. Best place is just the dirt, and then you've got the Acios Wilderness and then the beach at the Sunken Sea. They're between 4 and 7% chance of dropping, but the desert is only 2%, so don't dig there. This one is a melee damage type pet, 10% chance to stun targets on melee hit and 10% critical hit chance. So lots of perks centered around critical hits and extra damage against bosses, as well as extra stun duration. So really good for critical hit and stun builds, especially if you've got any other weapons that do extra damage against stun creatures. So the new pets they've added are the Pheromoth. This you get from the mold subbiome, usually found in the Acios Wilderness and pretty close sometimes to the Forgotten Ruins. This is another passive, so just like Alux, 9.3 physical range damage, 5% dodge chance. And obviously it will be found in a fuzzy egg, which you've got a chance of finding in some of the crates or the flower pots that you find in the mold biome. Lots and lots of critical hit and range attacks, pretty much similar to the Alux. You've got Snuggle Grade, a melee focused pet, 11 to 13 melee damage, 15% chance to gain mana on hit. You see some other stats there, but that's to do with some other items I'm wearing that also give bonus damage to your minions. And yeah, it's got a chance of 15% to give you mana when it hits an enemy. It's kind of the first pet that does a bit of both, passive and aggressive. Lots of movement speed and critical hit bonuses and buffs with this guy, but also NG tap, another 10% chance to gain mana on hit. Also notice that he's one of the fastest pets in the game. That's because you can only find him in the passage, the brand new endgame area, which does require quite a bit of speed for reasons I won't spoil here. So last in the list is a whole bunch of slimes, slime juniors you get from killing all the various slime bosses. This might be one of the main reasons that you're farming some of these slime bosses, so you get the chance of them actually dropping as it's percentage based. So you may have to repeat taking on some of these bosses if you want that particular slime junior. To find the optional slime bosses, you will need to take care of the first 3, and you basically get a drop which ends up being a hologram pod, which reveals the scanners that you can go ahead and find them. So all slimes do 11 to 13 melee damage, and then they've got different perks. The orange slime will reduce the amount of movement speed when an enemy gets hit by it by 11.7% for 4 seconds, and it does 8% damage against bosses. This is why you don't really want to farm Glurch too much in the hopes of getting this guy, because there are definitely better, stronger slimes, unless you really do want the reduction in speed. It's really the boss damage that you're looking here for. The blue slime will have a 13% chance on hit to apply slippery movement, which makes enemies move all over the place, and it has an increased 15% damage against bosses now. And when I say blue slime, I mean Morpher, which you can find somewhere in the Sunken Sea. Junior Lava Slime gives 2 glow, and again 15% damage against bosses. You need to head to the Desert of Beginnings and find the lava subbiome to find Ignatius. And personally, I think one of my favourites for boss fights, certain ones anyway that heal, is Ivy the purple slime, which you can find by finding Ivy in the Acios Wilderness. This has a 12% chance to apply poison on hit, reducing enemy healing received by 75%. And again, it does 15% boss damage. The last one is a special one. Keep killing slimes and eventually you'll get a special idol drop. Place it down and then you'll take on pretty much a Terraria crossover boss fight. This doesn't have any middle perk, instead it's just straight up 30% damage against bosses. Now remember, we're talking damage against bosses when they hit, not when you hit. But once you start getting that leveled up, that's a significant little boost, especially taking it into battle. So out of all the slimes, I would probably go for either the purple slime or the prince slime. So candies come in 3 rarities. You've got the pellets, which only give 50 XP. Then you've got the rare candy, which gives 500. Then you've got the really rare beast boosters. The pellets you'll get from drops from pretty much every kind of storage, whether it's a clay pot, a chest, copper chest especially, about 11% chance finding them. The rare candy you can find in the scenes. When I say scenes, you might come across like a campsite with a pedestal. That's a scene, and there's loads of them in the game. You pretty much got good chances of finding a lot of the actual rare ones. Gorm and Glurch are 26 to 27% chance of dropping as well when you farm them, and you can find them in all the other lock chests as well, small percentage. And the beast boosters, they are pretty much only drops from some of the more advanced bosses. So pretty much Ivy, Morva, and obviously Ignatius Slime. But then you've got all the other bosses as well, like Asios, Pydra, the new ones that have been added, Rakar. Lots of these names won't mean nothing to you right now probably, but they are mid to late game bosses and you've got a percentage chance of them dropping. An unleveled pet, that will get it straight up to level 5, and then one after will get to level 6, and one after another level 7. So 5,000 a pop and another 50,000 to get to max level, you need quite a lot of the beast boosters to hit. So think very carefully about how and what you use your candies on. Has the pet got the role of perks that you think will be suitable? Would it be worth farming some of the slimes if you're going to be farming lots of bosses? Do you prefer having the buffs on yourself, so the Alux is going to be the better option? Your pets won't die, obviously. If you take damage, they'll just simply respawn with you. To give your pets some of the candies that you found, you directly put in your hotbar and just use the use button while they're pretty much close to you. And yeah, they will gain experience, obviously, just by being by your side and taking part in combat. And there we go, folks. That is the complete guide and breakdown to all the pets, including new ones they've added. Absolutely, the Alux is definitely something I would go for sure. And maybe the new Snuggly one seems pretty cool. But otherwise, I would still go for maybe some of the slime ones if you're looking to take on bosses. Particularly Prince Slime or Ivy Slime. Need any more help in Core Keeper? Make sure you go and check out the full playlist. Got tons of different guides. And I'll see you at Bags later.